It's the Traumedy Podcast. Trauma plus comedy equals Traumedy. This week on Traumedy.
The richness that can come from our wounding, which I'm not denying. Of course, some of our greatest learning comes from hard times, but, you know, it doesn't have to be hard, is my argument.
Yes.
It's
you
like
and I.
we can do this in a place of joy, love, mutual support, abundance, appreciation, wonder. It doesn't have to be hard.
You're listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you take your pain and play with it. I'm Nancy Norton. I am a former nurse, comedian, and keynote speaker about the power of humor, why we need it, how it helps us.
Bring the power of humor to your next event with award-winning comedian Nancy Norton. Nancy got out of healthcare for the same reason a lot of people get into it, to save lives. Message Nancy at nancynorton.tv. The Traumedy Podcast is sponsored by Crybaby Badass. You have to feel it to heal it. You are a Crybaby Badass luminary. See your light in the mirror. Do you have a trauma? Hey, you listening, do you have a Traumedy story to share? If so, send Nancy a message at nancynorton.tv.
This is a very good episode. Every episode is so good. I love my job. I love my calling. This is a calling, as you know. I cannot not do Traumedy because I need these conversations. I hope by listening in, you get a little something from them as well. I really am learning from every guest some coping skills or some inspiration and always something funny every single time. And this is a mental health podcast. So keep breathing. Know you're not alone. If you want to find a comedy show or to connect with me, go to my website, nancynorton.tv. Everything is there. Enjoy this episode, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to Traumedy. My guest this week is an author, a creator of an oracle deck, a gigong, would you say teacher? Please welcome Lara J. Day.
Thank you, Nancy.
I try to do
So
it.
happy to be here.
I have a little sparkle. I don't usually do all the jazz hand stuff. I don't know what's going on. I feel a little sparkle with you. I'm just starting to tune into my spirit guides and everything, you know, my muses. So I feel that with you. I know
I love it. I
we've
love the jazz hands. That was like past life of mine. I was a dancer growing up. So,
really?
I can relate. Jazz hands.
Ooh, I got little spirit truth chills right there.
Yeah.
That is a big part of you. That dance and the jazz and everything.
Yeah, movement is a big part of my whatever you want to call it.
Yes, that is you. You are movement. You're moving. And so tell me, like when I said Qigong teacher, but tell me a coach or, I know nothing about Qigong. I don't know if we want to start there. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, we can start with Qigong. So for those listening who have no clue what Qigong is, the word Qigong actually breaks down into the word Qi, which means universal life force energy, and Gong, which means the good work or practice of. So we have the good work or practice of cultivating universal life force energy. Ooh. So this is ancient Chinese art form, meditation, movement, and you have two branches within that. One is the personal practices, which look like Tai Chi. So most people are familiar with Tai Chi, those very slow movements, right, that you think of people doing in a park or whatnot. Tai Chi is a form of Qigong that is a martial art in nature. So it's under the greater umbrella of this art form or this good work of cultivating universal life force energy, yet it's a martial art. So the Qigong that I practice is more of a general, for the purpose of cultivating health and well-being, whether that's physical, emotional, or spiritual. So that's the personal practice forms. And then the other branch is the clinical side of things, which looks more like a client lying on a massage table and a practitioner, much like Reiki or sort of like acupuncture without the needles. We're working with Chinese medicine, the meridian lines, the point systems along the meridian lines, the inner cauldrons, but with our hands and the mind moving energy as opposed to putting a needle in it.
Don't need to put a needle in it.
don't always have to put a needle in it. Yeah.
Don't always. Yeah. We're not, wait, nothing against acupuncture.
No,
but, sometimes those physical things, I've been doing stuff, and, I'm a comedian. So lately what's up for me is talking about being a 5th generation nurse. And before that, we were called witches. And I'm just sort of not a practicing witch by any means in terms of anything official. I'm not into any religion or dogma, but I just feel this intuitiveness and this, I don't know. I've just been joking about you need an airplane to get around. You can't just astral project.
Right.
Whereas the Qigong or the Reiki, and I don't know that I'm saying it right, but I probably not. But yeah, so it doesn't, the metaphysical versus the physical sometimes, or maybe combo because you're moving your body.
Well, it would depend, right? Sometimes you're not moving your body. Sometimes you're seated and you're just moving energy internally with your mind, right? We say that the mind leads the chi. Oh. And so there's that, but there can be internal forms, external forms. And then, a client lying on the massage table, they're not really an active participant in receiving the treatment. On an energetic and spiritual level, they are, but they're not moving their body, right? And so it's, that said, I have the work that I do. I have my own particular mashup of standalone modalities, one being the medical Qigong or Qigong healing, and the other being neurogenic tension and trauma releasing tremor work.
Oh, yes.
Which is a mouthful. But if you think of the way that an animal shakes when they're scared or overstimulated, that is a mechanism in the autonomic nervous system. It's an involuntary tremor, and it's actually quite beneficial. It's allowing the nervous system to reset after an overstimulating event, or to release the trapped tension from that overstimulating event. So believe it or not, we are mammals. And we also have this mechanism in our nervous system. But if you think of a gazelle getting chased by a lion, right? And then finally recognizing that it's safe, it's not going to be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it will wander off to the side of the herd, shake and tremble. And then when that process is naturally complete, it will wander back to the herd, graze, healthy, happy gazelle, no PTSD.
Let's go of the past.
Yeah, let's go. It lets go of the overstimulation, the tension from being overstimulated. Imagine if you were in a public place, Nancy, you're at the mall, and you start to shake and tremble. Would the rest of the human herd just be like, oh yeah, Nancy's having a release, right on? Or would they perhaps rush over, ask you if you wanted to call an ambulance, if you needed, some medication, a shot of whiskey, how can we help you make this stop?
If I can get people to offer me a shot of whiskey, I will. I would do that. Well, I have done it's TRE.
TRE.
My trauma therapist has recommended that. I've watched some of the videos and I've done some of those exercises. Totally am a believer in it. Also, when I did psychedelic trauma therapy with her, all of a sudden it just started happening. My chin just started shaking, my whole body.
Yes.
And it was kind of interesting to observe myself doing that. But you're right. We don't make time, or we don't know. We've kind of overrode the autonomic nervous system, right? So it's socially unacceptable. So you have to make time for it. So you teach folks how to do that.
And we're afraid of it. Yeah. So I did the TRE training. I'm a certified TRE provider, but then I mash it up with the Qigong. So what I do with clients or in workshops is we do a Qigong practice first, and we dive into certain organs, element systems, or cauldrons, within the body / energy body through the Qigong system and the Chinese philosophy and all the correlations. It's a really rich system, right? And then we lie down, find that tremor, which is surprisingly easy to do, as you've probably experienced. It's kind of like, holy cow, I didn't know my body could do this, but it's doing this, right? And I've worked with thousands of students and clients, and everybody thinks that they're going to be the one person who doesn't tremor, and I have yet to see it. So, so if you have a healthy nervous system, you can do this. If you're tremoring, it doesn't mean that you have more or less trauma or unprocessed trauma. If your nervous system is healthy, it knows how to do this. So we lie down, we find the tremor, and then once my client is comfortable in that tremor process, then I begin to weave in the clinical Qigong. So I work with the points again along the meridians, and we'll use healing sounds. We'll use different words to kind of tease up some of those stories and emotions that might be trapped in the nervous system, in the body. And it's a really unique experience. It can be incredibly transformative for folks. There are two modalities that really helped me on my own healing journey. You know, most of us that end up in this healing space are wounded healers.
Wounded
right?
healers that are transcending. And that's what we're doing with Traumedy, is to help heal ourselves and others by sharing our stories, how we do things, and how we don't stay stuck. You know, we've all had stuff. And, you know, trying to keep, like you say, moving it out of your body, or not letting it get in those little compartments that we ended up working around, and those become a dysfunction in our lives, you know?
Right.
So, and can isolate us too. Okay, we were talking right before we started that you used to live here in Boulder.
I did. Yes,
and that's where you start.
My whole Qigong community is there. My teacher is there.
Who knew? There's a whole Qigong community here.
Huge.
I need to tap in. I feel like I trust path intersections, and I'm 65 now, and it's like, I really struggle with sleep these days. I feel, I've been jamming the signals, playing chess.com and listening to YouTube near-death experiences.
I am an NDE junkie. I'll just tell you right now.
And aren't they great? And there's so many really good ones that you're like, and there's just so many common things that you're like, okay, listen.
Okay, I'll tell you right now, my favorite book is called The Purpose of Life by David Sunfellow, and it's a collection of short excerpts from longer, NDE stories, and it's so inspiring. It's so beautiful.
And
so
is it on Audible?
I don't know.
Because I like to listen to these as I go to sleep. I don't know. But there's a sense, a knowing in me that if I did the TRE, or if I did even like in The Power of Now, I used to read these like 2-minute meditations of just this ocean wave going back and forth, like seeing you know what I mean? Like I'm just I'm not practicing. So I need to, I know.
Okay, so I want to ask you, I don't know if this is kosher to do on your podcast.
Anything.
Do you have trouble falling asleep, or is that you fall asleep and then wake up in the middle of the night?
Both. I resist falling asleep. There's just a part of my brain that I think as I'm getting towards this last third, if I'm lucky, the last third of life. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to sleep. It's like, I don't want to miss anything, you know? And I'm getting a little more downloads, and you know what I mean? Like I feel like my spirit guides, I should be writing a book, and I'm not doing that. I'm trying to do what worked for me 20 years ago.
So in the daytime, do you feel exhausted, like you're not getting enough sleep, or do you just have a judgment that you shouldn't be waking up in the middle of the night?
Oh, this is good. I actually feel pretty energized. So
I just want to invite you to consider that maybe there's not a problem here.
Okay. I just feel like, I'm worried that I'm not clearing out the amyloid proteins and I might get Alzheimer's or something. You know what? Like I feel, isn't there supposed to be like a time of deep sleep where your body clears those proteins, you know? Well, that's a good point you make. Maybe I don't need as much sleep at this age.
Maybe you don't. Yeah. And there's, I know when I was really concerned with insomnia years ago, and I was having a hard time. And I had a mentor who introduced me to the idea that a lot of people used to get what they actually called biphasic sleep, where they would go to bed quite earlier because, less electricity and the world wasn't quite as lit up and neon. And so they would sleep for a chunk of time, and then wake up in the middle of the night, read by candlelight, maybe make love, have some intimacy, whatever it was, and then sleep again for another chunk in the later night or / early morning, really. And that was just a normal sleep pattern, and that somewhere along the way, it was some kind of propaganda that was trying to sell something. I don't know what, maybe alarm clocks, I'm not sure, but they introduced the
It's always about something, right?
Yeah, they introduced the idea that we're supposed to get like this solid nonstop 8-hour chunk of sleep, which wasn't necessarily the only natural sleep pattern or healthy sleep pattern for for many adults or humans. So anyway,
thank you for sharing that. Maybe I can relax a little more. I will say I just adopted a little dog recently. And so normally I stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning. I sleep till 10 or 11. I mean, off and on, I will just say, intermittently. But now that I have a dog, I feel like, I got to get up early, get out for it, which is nice. I get out for a walk. So I am getting a little less sleep. Maybe I'm just not disciplined about going to sleep. I want to try, though, maybe doing... I do listen to, Brian Weiss. If you love near-death experiences, past life regressions, Brian Weiss he has a great meditation that I often listen to that I'll finally turn off the NDEs, put on Brian Weiss. He's got a very calming voice.
Yeah.
But back to your practice, what town are you in now?
So I'm now currently in Atascadero, California. I'm back in my hometown taking care of my mom who has dementia. Oh. And so that's where I am. And I'm having a whole second honeymoon with my hometown and my home area. It's so gorgeous here. I feel so fortunate. It's, after living in Colorado for 15 years, I will never again take for granted flip-flops in January and February and farmers markets that don't close in the wintertime and having access to the coast. I'm 20 minutes from the coast and it's beautiful here.
Yeah. What is the name of your town again?
Atascadero. I am about 4 hours north of LA and 4 hours south of San Francisco on the coast.
Ooh, sounds dreamy.
It's very dreamy. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, small towns. Our closest sort of hub or bigger college town is San Luis Obispo. Cal Poly is the school there.
Yep. My son's best friend went to Cal Poly. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that. That's so amazing. And I know you mentioned earlier that you have kids because we talked about toggling off and on the video where it's like, oh no, I thought I recorded the whole recital. But are you in that sandwich generation where you're taking care of your mom and you have kids or?
I mean, yes, my daughter is 17. So, and she's just incredible and super independent. In fact, she was homeschooled from the very beginning. And she is like a poster child for unschooling, which I hate that term. It should really be child-led learning because unschooling sound like it's a bunch of stoner parents that don't want to do anything. And that's just...
Yeah, man, let's do this unschooling thing, dude.
Yeah, that's not what it is. It's child-led learning. But she plays 6 instruments. She has been playing with adult orchestras on the harp, classical harp, since she was 13 or 14 years old. She is the California Bluegrass Association Youth Ambassador. So she's up at the CBA, California Bluegrass Association, at their camp this week, just on her own. And she's, and then, there's festival this weekend, and then she goes to TA at another camp in Big Sur. So she's gone for 2 weeks and she's just, she's off and flying. Yeah.
Okay. Forget about those videos. You did it right.
I did okay.
You did okay.
I forgot to press record on a couple of videos, but I did all right.
Dang it. Of course, it was the best one, right? That's what happens in comedy. We call it whatever, the curse of the video. But hey, when you were talking about unschooling and child-led, and I read a book, I don't know if you've ever heard of Shakti Gawain. Did you ever hear? She wrote a book called Living in the Light, and it stuck with me. I read it in the late 80s before I had a child. Actually, I'd had a miscarriage, so children were on my mind. But I read this line and it said, that wasn't the line I was going to quote. First of all, my favorite quote is, follow that which makes your heart feel lighter. When you're struggling with a decision, instead of doing like the pros and cons list, just choose that which makes your heart feel lighter. And then about parenting, basically it was that, like, hey, keep them safe, feed them, shelter them, and get out of the way. Let them, they are so wise. And my son, I did send him to school, but I was lucky to get into a free Waldorf school here in Boulder. It was called BCSIS, Boulder Community School of Integrated Studies. And 3 of my friends taught there. I'm not saying they I don't think they did, but I'm just saying he won a lottery. And he got to go to that school. Yeah. But then he went to Platt Choice, which was a lot of outside stuff, not quite the same as child-led, but he did have a lot of choices. But he'll say, Mom, you sent me to hippie schools.
Anyway, you're welcome.
Yeah, you are welcome. And he's on his own path, and it is not mine. And I really am trying not to do what my mom, do your thing. It's not my vision for you. It's not. He's going into law enforcement, and it has never been like that. Is not. Wow. He's adopted from Nepal, and it's like, I was thinking something, I don't know, a little more first world. He's a great musician too. He fills our house with music. He's always arranging and playing music. So he's got that in him, but he's called to law enforcement.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think our job as parents is to just hold space, right? Mm-hmm. Notice where their gift is, notice where they're intuitively led, and then just follow along behind and fluff that out.
Oh, that's cute. Fluffing it out. Yes.
Just fluffing it out. Yeah.
I just want what's best for you. I know. But I am codependent. I am in a recovery program for codependency, or have been. I'm just saying, yeah, I can be a little controlling at times. Like, I think I know best. He's still living at home, going to community college. He works at McGuckin's Hardware. You know McGuckin.
Okay, that's where my daughter fell in love with the harp. Was Margot Krimmel was playing harp there during the holiday season.
Yes, I've seen her there.
Yes, and we were reading a children's book at the same time called Gwenna that is absolutely the most stunning children's book you will ever read. The illustrations are gorgeous. It's for adults as well. I mean, it could be, right? The story is just so metaphorical and beautiful, and it's out of print. It's worth spending the money on. Gwinna, Gwinna. The heroine goes on this epic journey. She wants to sing with the wind, and she basically ends up, flying through the skies and playing the harp in order to sing with the wind. So we're reading that book, and then we go to McGuckin's, and Margot's there playing harp, and my daughter was just like, "Mom, I have to,"
Oh, I've got.
That's where it all started.
I've got truth chills head to toe, and I'm making a note because I have two nieces who are homeschooled, and one of them's way into dance, and I'm going to find that book and send it to them. I've been thinking, I haven't sent her birthday present yet. Thank you so much. And I know, listen, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a little nonlinear, and I'll get back to, we were talking about your hometown, and we were talking about your practice. Do you do things locally there in your hometown, or do you do them remote as well?
Yeah, I see clients locally here. That's my preference. I'm, post COVID and everybody, getting shuttled online, I do try as much as possible to get back in the room, in the flesh with real humans, in all ways, shapes, and forms, whether it's getting together with girlfriends or working with clients in the flesh. However, during those COVID years, I did figure out how to see clients online, so I'm also available for that. I teach workshops very occasionally here locally. I have a community in Texas that I teach for a couple times a year. That is through Alex Zeck and the Way Forward podcast, and that they have an event, Confluence, every summer. Incredible community. So, yeah.
There's options. But I do know a lot of folks in California, and I just was playing a gig out in Sonoma. I have some friends that actually I think they're about to hit the road and live van life, so maybe they could come through there. Who knows? Yeah. But folks can find you obviously through your website.
Yes, which is just my name, larajday.com. Just don't sneak a U in there. Even when I spell it for folks, Lara, they often sneak the U in. So Laraj, my middle initial, Day, Day.
I like the rhythm of it, Lara J Day.
Lara J Day.
It sounds like a great showbiz name, Lara J Day, or And it's a great author name. What's that?
It's my author name.
Yeah. Lara J Day. So you wrote a book. What is your book?
Yeah. So I have it here. This is my Sacred Nights Oracle. So it's actually an oracle deck, and it teaches a winter solstice practice that is all about aligning with the quiet and the darkness and the stillness of the winter solstice season, when we are out, typically in the Northern Hemisphere, shopping compulsively, overindulging in sugar and alcohol, jam-packing our December calendars, flooding our lawns with LED light displays, just like a slap in the face to the darkness. We will not be quiet, we will not be still, we will not dive inward. And it's really just the polar opposite. It's this massive distraction from the true energy that's really available in midwinter if we are willing and able to slow down, pay attention, and listen. And what's really available during that season is the infinite, right? This is the 0 point of the year. It's the place of infinite possibility. It's the womb of winter where we are dreaming up the next coming cycle. We are, remembering our future. We are planting our dream seeds in the fertile soil of the darkness. So I like to use the metaphor of lighting a match in the broad daylight. It's kind of underwhelming. right? But if you were to light a match in the darkness, it's really clear where the light is. So we are wrapped in this cloak of darkness and stillness, these long winter nights. And we have this opportunity to witness our own inner spark and to recognize the inspirations, right? These little seedlings of inspiration, these little sparks of desire that are igniting within us for the coming cycle. So,
fascinating and beautiful phrasing, by the way. I loved everything you just said. I just was like, I can tell you're a great writer. I love that. And like when I've traveled, luckily I've had the opportunity to travel a lot doing stand-up from, Iceland to Guam and all these bizarre places that I would never go. But it's like when you go to these northern places that have a lot of inside time, that's where you see a lot of crafts, a lot of art, a lot of creativity, because like you said, back in the time before electricity, what else was there to do?
Right.
Start weaving a tapestry. I love that. And it sort of makes me think about my thing at night, though. Like, I feel like there is a part of me jamming the signals. Like, I feel like my soul and my spirit guides are trying to get through to me, and a part of me is being lazy. Like, I'm like, I don't want to do the work right now. Can I just cover up with my blanket and listen to NDEs and wait to die? But I don't want to regret it. I don't want to regret like not using my time more wisely here on Earth, because it is interesting. Everybody, you hear like, oh, Earth is a difficult journey, but then you're looking at the sky and the trees and you're like, really? And the butterflies? Right. And we're like, is it difficult, or we're making it?
I think we have to reel it back in. I think right now, especially, there's so much glorification of the richness that can come from our wounding, which I'm not denying. Of course, some of our greatest learning comes from hard times, but it doesn't have to be hard, is my argument.
Yes.
It's
you
like
and I.
We can do this in a place of joy, love, mutual support, abundance, appreciation, wonder. It doesn't have to be hard.
I'm telling you, the angels love the clapping. I've been asking the loving universe, may I please, I've learned a lot from suffering. Thank you kindly. May I please learn from delight now? If I promise to stay awake, but then they're like, are you staying awake?
Right.
But I am.
But it's really true. Positive reinforcement also can work.
Yeah.
If you're willing, like you're saying, like you still have to do your part and respond. You don't want to have to wait until, you get hit with a sledgehammer.
That's right.
But,
get hit with the board, as they say. Yes. Or sledgehammer.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I have there was a experience that I had, forever ago. I was, I think, 23, and I was teaching Spanish for a nonprofit program in like schools and after school programs. And I had one little classroom of like, they were the kindergartners, or maybe it was first graders, but littler guys. And the very first day of class, I had maybe 6 or 7 students in that class. And the one kid comes in, Diego. And the first thing he does is walk over to the chalkboard, and he just looks at me and he starts breaking pieces of chalk,
Okay.
And the whole first class, he's doing everything he can to get my attention with negative behavior, right? Or problematic behavior. So intuitively at the time, I just ignored everything negative that he was doing. And the first time he answered a question correctly, I just slathered on the praise, just tons of praise, like, oh, que inteligente, oh, fantástico, amazing, Diego, And within like a couple of days, this kid was coming in, and he would sit down right next to me in the circle, Indian style, straight as a board, quiet as a mouse, like big smile on his face, right next to teacher. And it was such a huge lesson for me that we can learn from positive reinforcement.
Yes, and the loving universe responds to that too, right? When we say thank you, more like this. Every time I get a check in the mail from a gig that I'm doing that's aligned with my life purpose, and I'm feeding my family and providing shelter, I'm like, thank you, loving universe. More like this.
This is what gratitude practices are all about, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're grateful, you're embodying that frequency of gratitude, which is then going to attract more things to you to be grateful for. That's the law of attraction, 101, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But it tends to work.
It works.
In my
really
life.
Does work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking. I messaged my friend Kate, as I said, about. Can't remember if I told you that before or after we were recording, where she was telling me that you she knew of you through she looked at your website. I was telling her, "Ooh, I'm going to interview this gal that's created this cool oracle deck because Kate and I love to pull cards all the time." And she was saying that you were got great reviews from this amazing herbalist. What is her name?
Yeah. Rosemary Gladstar.
I don't know why I keep blocking out her name. Rosemary Gladstar.
Of herbalism. Yeah.
Is she still with us, Rosemary Gladstar?
She's still with us, absolutely. Yeah, she's so beautiful. And I was telling you that I had sent her my OG self-published deck years ago and then received this gorgeous handwritten, multi-page note in return that was just exquisite and so heartfelt. And I cherish it. And then she sent me a sticker of a little beautiful, little colorful hummingbird. And I put it in my car where I always see it to remind myself that I'm, supported by elders and people that I admire. And yeah.
I bet, do you have spirit signs with birds? I have a lot of birds, a lot of different ones, but do you have do you see hummingbirds or do you have any spirit signs like that?
I mean, hummingbirds I think are everybody's spirit animal. They're such little rascals and they just get right up in your face and but red-tailed hawks specifically for me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I had an experience when I was in junior high where I had a carpool with a few teenage junior high boys that weren't very nice to me, and I would have to go wait out the end of my driveway in the cold in the morning. Even in California, it can still get cold, you guys. And
yeah. Well, and by your standards too, right? Because you're not used to the cold.
Conditioned too, exactly. Yeah. So, and then I have to get in the car with these punk kids, and this red-tailed hawk started meeting me right where I would wait in this oak tree right next to where I would stand every morning. And I would turn around as we were driving off and watch, and she would always fly away after I got in the car.
Oh, and again, I keep getting the truth chills. So really early, it sounds like your spirituality opened up very young. I was clueless at that age, honestly. I wanted to have that kind of experience, but I did not have that kind of experience not till I did psychedelic trauma therapy, I feel like, or maybe a little before that.
That'll open it up.
It did.
But yeah, I did have spontaneous things happen as a young kid, but I had no context for it, and I had no mentors. My family was neither spiritual nor religious. We were just straight mainstream, go to college, science rules, the whole thing. So there were some experiences that I had that really spooked me. As a young kid, spontaneous out-of-body experiences that I didn't know what it was, or and then I got some bad feedback from kids in school that were like demons are trying to suck your soul out of your body and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until much later where I had some context for what those experiences were, the beginnings of.
Developed, got some mentors and maybe a system so that you could understand and work things. And when you developed this book, this oracle deck, I'm guessing a lot of it was sort of either channeled or, intuited somehow.
Yeah, that word channeled always kind of triggers me because I feel like there are so many people who say that they channeled something, and I just want to say, no, it was you. Like you wrote that. You may have been in the zone or in a connected in or tapped in some way, but it came through you. Like, take credit. It wasn't some being outside of you that was writing through your pen, No, so my teacher is in Boulder. Her name is Damaris Jarboe. She's incredible. And she taught me this practice the first year that I studied with her in 2008. And it's not a Qigong practice. It's very Taoist in nature, that it's about aligning with nature and the seasons and these rhythms. But it is actually more inspired by anthroposophy and Rudolf Steiner. And then prior to that,
I know nothing about those folks. So feel free to educate me as you go.
Anthroposophy and Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner is the man behind the inspiration for Waldorf education, biodynamic farming.
Oh, and even though my son went to a free Waldorf school,
that's okay. You're not the only one who doesn't know. Yeah. So the Waldorf education is really based on the idea of conserving the spirit and the creativity of the child, and it was all philosophy from Rudolf Steiner. Who is you could spend your whole life studying Rudolf Steiner and barely scratch the surface. He has so much, very prolific, tons of lectures and published books. And she taught me this practice, and I just completely fell in love with it. It's a 13-day practice. It's done in midwinter, right? During that winter solstice season, the longest, darkest nights of the year, in the womb of winter. So it's 13 days long, and each day corresponds to a month in the coming year, with the exception of the first day, which is a reflection of the entire cycle of seasons to come: winter, spring, summer, fall. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, it's really neat and tidy, and that's January through December. So essentially what you're doing during this window of time is creating a magical blueprint for the coming year. And you do that in two ways. One, you're receiving guidance. Okay, well, how do you do that? Really just by being present and paying attention. So you're noticing all the events that are happening in your outer world and also everything that's happening in your inner world. And then you're writing it all down in a journal. And then you're also drawing oracle cards for each of the 13 days and nights. Oh. And so I'll show you with the... So, before creating this, I wasn't necessarily like an oracle deck girly or like a tarot person at all. I just fell in love with this practice. And an oracle deck really happens to be a really great delivery system for this practice. It's kind of like, I like to say that, how toast is like really just a delivery system for butter. Like this oracle.
And now avocado toast, you got to have
or
it.
avocado, right?
Yeah.
I love me some avocado. But this oracle deck is really just a medium to teach this practice. And
so wonderful! I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just that's one thing I never really knew the difference between a tarot deck and an oracle deck.
Yeah, so tarot is a type of oracle deck that's more specific, kind of like
that's
the
a
Tai
subset.
Chi and the Qigong.
Okay.
So tarot is a very specific system. And the cards always have the same meanings, and you get to know them and you learn them, and there's a very specific way to use that system. And then oracle decks is kind of like the greater umbrella. And these days there's fairy cards, there's angel cards, there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards. There's there's like every kind of oracle deck. So my oracle has animals, herbs, and crystals.
Ooh, yeah.
Within it.
So nature.
Yes, and it's got this guidebook, which is
Beautiful.
So each card, there's 52 cards, and each card has like an essay that goes along with it that gives you some theme to think about, to chew on, to work with in your life. And then each of the 52 cards in this new version published by Beyond Words, I added 52 meditations to go with each card, or ritual practices. So this is the guidebook, and then you have the cards themselves. So that's the
beautiful.
The backs of the cards, and then some of the card images.
Oh, beautiful!
I worked with my dear friend Jenny Brennan, who was with me decades ago when I got bit by a rattlesnake. That's a whole nother story, but very apropos that we ended up doing this artwork together. I can give her like 99% of the credit, but she was very gracious in working with me. I'm really particular about how things are arranged in space. And so I was always like, can you move that over a little bit? No, down just a tiny bit. And can you add some more sparkle? And
I love that you know what you want and you can articulate it. And a past life regression, we were talking about Brian Weiss in past lives.
Yeah,
I was a typesetter for the New York Herald. And when I do a poster or something, I know exactly what you mean. It's like the space, it has to balance.
It's got to be balanced.
It's got to feel right. So that's so cool but you also tip of the hat to her for the patience, right? Because I know, as my nephew's a graphic artist, he actually, he has a tarot deck, but he, when he works with clients, whenever a graphic artist I hear works with clients, it's challenging because it is hard to find the exact thing sometimes. But it sounds like y'all did it.
Yeah,
we found it.
We did great, and she's a beautiful artist, and so the first bit is receiving, right? You're receiving the downloads, you're receiving the guidance, you're drawing oracle cards, you're writing this all down in a journal. First holy night corresponds to the coming year, second sacred night, holy night. Originally the deck was called the Holy Nights. My publishers changed it to the Sacred Nights, so sometimes my brain gets confused. But so that's the first piece. And then the second piece is that it's co-creation. So you are planting your dream seeds, your desires for the coming cycle. So during that 13-day window, if you want to meditate more, you want to, laugh and watch more stand-up, or if you want to cook more or garden more, or have a certain friend in your life, make sure that you reach out to them during that window. Make sure you actually do the things during those 13 days. So you're not just writing down your list of New Year's resolutions. You're actually getting the inertia moving. You're creating this actual physical stamp that's going to get, just imprinted right into this riptide of energy that's moving through. And it just gets swept right into your future in a legitimately magical way. So you have this journal that you created during the 13 days. You did the things that bring you joy. You did the things that you want, to manifest in your coming year. And then throughout the remainder of the year, you're constantly checking back in with your journal at the beginning and the end of each month, like bookends. But then also when the proverbial, 4-letter word hits the fan, the first thing I do is get out my journal and go, oh my, what did I write down in the sacred night that corresponds to this month? And inevitably, there is something in there that just helps you pause, shifts your perspective, gives you some insight, very often drops your jaw, makes you look up at the sky and wonder, like laugh out loud, are you kidding me? Goosebump inducing.
Yeah.
And it's a constant reminder that there is something greater going on here, that the magic is real and alive, that we are not alone, that there is some bigger picture unfolding. It really serves to concretize your faith in the unseen world of energy and spirit. Aside from just the 13-day experience of walking through that sacred time, more aware of and awake to the conversation we are always having with the divine, whether we recognize it or not. And it's a boot camp in ways to wake to the dream, to wake to this co-creative dance, this conversation.
Love it.
We are, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
In.
And I want to give you another tip of the hat for the word concretize.
Yes.
I like it. I've never heard it before. I love it. I mean, seriously, I really do though. I've had this I remember, I don't know if you ever heard of like spiritual cinema circle. Used to be a thing where my ex-girlfriend, she was very spiritual, and she does this journaling with God. She called, anyway, point is, there was a book, a book and a film called Life, right? And it was very similar. It was like, hey, write it as if it is happening now. And then everybody that reviewed the movie was like, this one wasn't the best movie, but we did the practice and it worked. And so, and doing it with this extra added like intention and knowing like at the time that you're doing it, and that fertile time, like you said, during that gestation period, like setting those intentions and thinking about even like if somebody's, having a baby, like setting those beautiful intentions for that life that is they're bringing in. That's beautiful. And then people obviously can get this through your website as well.
You can get it. The links are all on my website. It'll send you to somewhere else, but Beyondword.com are my publishers, so they have it available on their website. You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Simon & Schuster. It's in all the places now.
Wow, that's really cool, Lara J. Day.
It is very cool.
I mean, you're doing it. You're creating with these big publishers and stuff. That's amazing.
I am returning the soul to the solstice and the holy to our holidays, which have become so hyper commercialized. We are sleepwalking through a revolving door of shopping, sugar, and alcohol. Just go to the grocery store and which holiday's on the horizon, because there's all the specialized branded candies and the disposable decorations and the mass-produced holiday cards and stuffed animals and everything else.
I know.
And it's just become, our holidays have become really devoid of deeper meaning and significance. And I think it's such a funny little rabbit hole that I ended up falling down. But I really have come to appreciate how important our holidays are, because they're mass rituals that we're enacting. And if you believe that human consciousness is divinely co-creative, which I do, that on some level, I don't know what the exact mathematical formula is, but we are, just by the thoughts and the emotions and the inner being that we are being, that we are, actually contributing to this outer reality, this three-dimensional playing field that we call life. So if we're all pausing in a society, we take our kids out of school, parents have work off, everybody's kind of doing roughly the same thing. The kids are going to go, oh, this is important.
Yes.
Right? Pay attention. And so we are teaching the younger generations what it is that is most sacred in this society. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is that just by pausing and all directing our attention in a similar fashion, in a similar way, we are actually co-creating our collective future together. So our holidays are important. We're enacting mass rituals, and we've been spoon-fed the rituals that we are now sleepwalking through.
Yeah, the consumerism.
Consumerism, and even before that, it's those in power or positions of power have long known that these sacred moments are powerful, and so the holidays have been used numerous times over. They've been rebranded, to use that word, right. Time and time again, in order to shift and manipulate the behavior of the working classes, of the masses. And so my thing is like, well, okay, if we can look at the history and kind of recognize that it hasn't really organically trickled down from like ancient traditions, that there's been some manipulation happening here, then maybe we'll be less like knee-jerk attached to, because people get really defensive of and attached to their traditions, and so maybe we can pause if we recognize the way that we've arrived here in the first place hasn't been totally innocent, and just take a look at, well, what are our current traditions nurturing us? Like, if you're doing things that make your heart feel good and they bring you joy and connection and whatever it is, by all means, keep that. But I just want to give people permission to also let go of that which is not serving them and reimagine individually and collectively how we want to mark these sacred turning points in the year.
I love it. I love it. I love that idea of reimagining it, and such an inviting way that you say it. Like, well, look, no shame, no shoulding, just saying, hey, does this serve you? Is it serving you? Do you feel energized by what you're doing? Do you feel inspired by what you're doing? Add this. Yeah. I love it. And right now, of course, I was thinking the solstice, we're having the summer solstice is coming right up this next week. And I was wondering now if I have a few listeners in the Southern Hemisphere, very few, but anybody that hears this in the Southern Hemisphere, they're having their winter solstice right now.
They're having their winter solstice. So people often ask, oh gosh, how do I do this practice in the Southern Hemisphere? And you do it during your winter season, because this is not about aligning with the arbitrary, modern calendar. This is about aligning with these true energies and this true rhythm of nature. And so in the Southern Hemisphere, their sacred nights are about to begin on June 21st. And it's not quite as convenient. You have to, like twist your brain a little bit to wrap around how it works. But they begin on the winter solstice, the June 21st. They have 3 initial days to prepare. So the word solstice actually means sun standing still. So sol meaning sun and sistere, to stand still. And what happens after the solstice is that the sun appears to stand still on the horizon for 3 days. And then after 3 days, it slowly begins to move again and continue its trajectory along the horizon, and we get incrementally more and more light. So the light returns on that 3rd day. The light is reborn, right? And the way I think of it is it's like we're capturing the tip of the fractal, like that first light that is then going to continue to unfold in ways untold and beautiful throughout the remainder of the year.
Ooh, so let's be with that. You have so many beautiful phrases. Sometimes I think we need time to savor it. I mean, obviously people listening can back up 15 seconds and listen to that. The tip of the fractal, that's amazing. So the tip of the fractal that, ends up recreating itself over and over. That's a beautiful. Okay, keep going. I had to just be with it for a second. It's just the imagery that
It's also how I teach Qigong. I'm often very descriptive. I want people to have some kind of reference for why we're moving our bodies the way we do, and what, like, it feels like you're splashing energy on your face, you know. And so I get very descriptive with my qigong practice as well. But okay, so we're in the southern hemisphere. June 24th at sundown to June 25th sundown. So sundown to sundown is that first 24-hour sacred night. And that first sacred night is a reflection of the entire cycle to come. So in the northern hemisphere, that's December 24th sundown to December 25th sundown, a reflection of the entire year to come. Up here, that's January through December. Down there, it is July through June. So July is like their January, and June is like December. So June 24th, I have to slow down to get my brain to do this right. June 24th to June 25th, reflection of July through June. June 25th sundown to June 26th sundown is a reflection of July. June 26th sundown to the 27th is a reflection of August, and so on. Okay. So that's how you would do it in the southern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, it begins on the 24th through the 25th. That's the whole year. The 25th through the 26th is January. The 26th through the 27th is February, and so on. And all of these instructions and details are in the book. It's very clear. There's a whole frequently asked questions section, because year after year for the first 5 years that I self-published, I would get the same questions over and over again. And I just want to say right now, my favorite question that I get every year, which never fails to crack me up, and every year I laugh harder and harder. I always get this question. It goes like this: I can't do the sacred nights this year. Can I do it at another time? I'm going to be, wait for it, at my in-laws. It's always the in-laws every time. I can't do the practice. I'm going to be my in-laws. And I just love that, because one of the things that's so great about this practice is it really is the true experience in taking the meditation off the mat. You know, it's 13 days. You have to learn to be present and, again, aware of this conversation that you're having with the divine, not just in your meditation in the morning, not just in your,
That's right, constant contact,
your yoga class, but in your life, walking through your life mindfully. And so, does life stop? Does the conversation with God stop because we're at our in-laws? Well, no, it doesn't. So,
it can be a block sometimes, I'm going to say, I will.
You only think it's a block.
Okay.
You're still in the conversation.
All right.
You're still in the conversation. That's the whole
but
point.
But that's the practice. Therein lies the rub, right? Where it's like, can I do this? With my mother-in-law telling me, whatever it was. I had a mother-in-law once.
So you're still in the practice, and some years you can get quiet and you can have, me time, and you can dive inward, and other years you're pulled out. I mean, a couple of years ago, my mom hit her head and I was in the hospital during the entire holy nights, so was I like, I'm not going to do the practice? Like, no, I did the practice in my life circumstances.
Yes. Do you find, and back to your mom, who you say is struggling with dementia, do you find that, I just realized this whole time I've been talking above my microphone, doesn't matter what I say anyway. I'm stuck now on take the meditation off the mat. I'm like, ooh, that's another good one. You have a lot of pearls in there. I'm gonna one of those I'm gonna grab to make the title. I don't know which one.
Grab them all. Yeah.
But with your mom's dementia, we hear a lot about music, helping people with dementia. I'm a former registered nurse, so it's like, I was just curious, like with your practices, and maybe you could, there's other people out there dealing with a family member with dementia. Is there any helpful hint you might have, or anything that helps you or helps her get grounded or know she's safe? Or, I know everybody's so different with dementia, but
yeah, everybody is so different. I mean, we call it all dementia, but there's so many different things happening, right?
Yeah.
But I would say that the Qigong is more for helping me get grounded.
Okay, there you go. Care for the caregiver. For the caregiver.
I'm not going to try to teach her Qigong at this point. Okay. However, I will say, music is one of the last things to go. And as I think I already mentioned, or maybe it was talking before we hit record, my daughter is like a crazed musician. She plays 6 different instruments, and she has this little ritual with my mom where my mom will come in late at night and she has a couple of songs that my mom knows to sing along to, and they'll sing them over and over and over again, and Jocelyn will play it, and Tambourine Man and Last Thing on My Mind are the two songs that they do. Sometimes Blowing in the Wind. And,
beautiful.
And Jocelyn will play the song, and then my mom will say, "Do it again. Can we do it again?" And it's
sweet.
It's just the sweetest thing. And when she did hit her head a couple of years ago, and we were in, the hospital and then the rehab center, and then, before she could come home, she was in another place, and so Jocelyn took her guitar to the rehab center and was playing for they were all dementia patients there, and she was playing for them, and it was the cutest thing because all their little feet started bouncing along in rhythm, and some of them were mouthing the words, and so music is one of the last things to go.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and that's so cool that Jocelyn did that. Beautiful act of service to use her music to help people.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, I don't know if I think she's still doing it. She does. She has a company called Harps for the Heart, and she does play a lot, like at cancer treatment centers and things like that. Well, so before we have closure, I know I was asking about pulling a card or anything else you want to share before we have closure.
I do have 5 seasonal courses that I offer on my website that are a combination of the topic of the rhythm of the seasons, but through the lens of the 5 elements of Qigong. So wood, fire, earth, metal, water. Wood being spring, fire being summer, earth being, it gets its own special season. It's harvest time or Indian summer, late summer. Metal would be fall, and then water is winter. So my winter course is the only course that has live Zoom interaction. That's a year-long 13 Sacred Nights guided experience.
Ooh, I want to do that. When is it? It starts on
in the northern
on the
Solstice.
Solstice.
I just realized the other day, man, there's nothing for our friends in the southern hemisphere if they wanted to do the guided experience, because
It's not too late. Look you got a week to.
Yeah. Yeah. So the water course starts in the winter, of the northern hemisphere, I have to say. But those are offered. Then the other 4 are all pre-recorded. It's through the lens of Qigong and the 5 elements. And then I do have, I see private clients. I'm now, my private practice is full for individual sessions, but I'm now offering a mentorship program, limited space also, but I want to work with individuals who are ready to dive deep and committed, because as it's never a one and done type of scenario. And so I'll be working with those folks. We'll do a deep dive once a month, a follow-up once a month, and they'll have access to all my courses and everything else. So
wonderful. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I know my friend Kate, who I was telling you about, she messaged me, she goes, your oracle cards are on her list. And she will get that book. I know she will. I'm gonna get it too. I think that's wonderful offering, and thank you for doing all the work that went into it. I know it's a labor of love, but it was a lot of work that went into that. And I like what you said earlier about taking some credit. I will say in my comedy, I feel like I channel muses, and I don't know if it's because of my upbringing. I'm a little older than you, and in my generation, it's very almost shameful to be boastful, or to even just to claim, I don't know, I did something good. You can't, you know what I mean? After a show, people be like, and I'm like, oh, it's you guys. I'm channeling your muses. I almost feel like I can't feed this ego. I gotta
take some credit, Nancy. You're amazing.
I do. I should take a little credit. I mean, I think it is co-creating though. I will say.
But it's always co-creating.
I'm going to start saying I'm co-creating instead of just it was,
It was something outside of me.
Yeah.
Here, listen, I have a friend who is literally writing his life story. It's his life story. And he's like, I'm channeling it.
But
you're not channeling it. It's your life story.
But I do feel that way. When I started writing my memoir, it was I felt like I was channeling with the people who needed to read it. Does that make sense? But then somebody was telling me recently, my friend Christy, she was reading something about my whole chart, and she was like, your lesson this lifetime is to learn that you don't have to be of service to be worthy. Everything I do has to have a service behind it. And I'm just I got to watch it. With that 5th generation nurse, I am really thinking about moving to Belize and just floating in the water. Can I just tell you, is it okay if I just float the last 20 years of my life?
I give you full permission.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go float.
Permission granted.
All right. I got permission from Lara J. Day. Did you feel like, I don't know, does it make sense? It doesn't make, it's not like a deck that you pull a card.
Oh, we could absolutely.
Do you want to pull a card?
So, people who are Oracle deck folks and they've got hundreds of Oracle decks at home, they like to sort of tuck this one away and keep it as their 13 Sacred Nights only special deck. But there are many more folks fall in love with it and they draw from it daily or whenever they've got questions, just like any other Oracle deck. Yeah.
So you can draw just like with angel cards or anything else or tarot, like, hey, what's up for me right now? Or if I have a question or I don't know. So maybe it's about Belize. Should we ask about Belize?
Should we ask?
Or should we just do a general?
Let's ask a more general question that folks in the audience.
Everybody would relate to. Not everybody wants to go to Belize.
Not everyone wants to go to Belize. No.
Okay.
But we could ask. We could ask something along the lines of, guide us to the animal, herb, or crystal that will give folks the greatest insight into, an area in their life where there might be change on the horizon.
I like that. That sounds really good.
So I'll shuffle the cards. And then there's so many different ways to draw an oracle card, but I'm just gonna cut the deck.
Pull one. I'll pull one.
And take the card off the top. So this is Garnet. And Garnet is all about worldly manifestations, about getting out of our own way, about receiving that which the universe is already showering down upon you. I'll say that I drew Garnet 2 months ago as my 13 Sacred Nights card for whatever month that was. So I drew it back in the winter solstice season. And so again, this is about worldly abundance and blessings and, receiving and that gratitude list. And let me look up what the practice is. But, and so I decided to lean into that theme because, you draw these oracle cards and it could just be like prophecy, but you could also go, okay, how do I lean into that guide, that theme a little bit more actively, right? And so I did instead of the practice that I usually do every morning, I usually do the microcosmic orbit, and instead I did a gratitude practice and an abundance meditation every morning during that month. And I received a very large wire of unexpected money right into my bank account.
How nice. And you put it to good use, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm still putting it to good use.
Congratulations, co-creating and abundance and having your needs met.
So there's a Joe Dispenza quote right at the top of the page that says, when we are whole, there is simply no lack. Nothing can be missing. Right, so this is recognizing that our infinite supply is always within us, all around us, as source, God, spirit, however you name the mystery, that's something greater. So the ritual practice is whole self meditation. Essentially, we get centered. You feel the space, the energy filling the space that surrounds you, the subtle energy currents with and around your body. It's not separate from you. It flows through you. It is you. And then to picture this energy as a vast, infinite fabric weaving through every living being, every galaxy, every star, every atom, to feel yourself as a part of this magnificent, all-encompassing, interconnected fabric. There's no separation between you and the energy that pulses through all things. So as a part, a connected, integral part of that whole, you can feel how the infinite possibilities within the universe are already inside of you. There's no shortage. There's nothing absent or incomplete. There's no lack. You're already whole, right? So you're one with all that is and ever will be.
I love it.
That's the ritual practice for Garnet.
Thank you, Lara. It's interesting to me that earlier in the conversation, the word tapestry came through, and I just thought, I feel like a little nod from the universe when it's like, we're going to let you know we're all connected. And we were talking about that quiet time and how people create. And then I said something about building that tapestry, and we are all part of the tapestry. I love it so much, and I've done just enough psychedelics to know it.
Yes, that's right.
I really do. I really
you can
do
see the grid. Yeah.
Yeah, but I really do believe in that medicine. I mean, I sort of say it with a laugh, but it changed my life. It changed my life to do, it's legal here in Colorado to do psilocybin with a therapist. It's an amazing experience, and I needed it. I'm so grateful for it.
I think that's the key, though, just what you said is to, it's like just enough that I think that the pitfall there is that folks can get, into a cycle of addiction, just like anything else. Even though technically those substances aren't addictive,
yeah,
I think I think there's that tendency, and so I think just enough.
Okay,
just
I think it's
open your eyes, open your perspective, but to not
right. Even Paul Stamets, who the fantastic fungi, he will say like you don't need to keep doing it. And also it's not for everyone. I always say to my audiences, because I do talk about it a lot because it changed my life, but I'm like, listen, if you've had psychosis, you don't need it. You already have access. Seriously, you do. I do believe that. I believe some of the folks that we label, some of the unhoused, some of the mentally ill, some of these people would be shamans in a different culture. So we just, unfortunately they have, I don't know. I mean, I did have a guest who specialized in schizophrenia, psychiatrist, and yeah, she'll talk about nonlinear others. And so that's a whole nother conversation. But,
a whole nother podcast.
But we did our little disclaimer, like, don't everybody go out and do a handful of mushrooms every day. It's all about balance. Everything in nature is sort of about that. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for taking time and also understanding my dyslexia with the time zone thing.
Oh, no problem.
I appreciate you, and I am so glad to meet you and see your sparkle. I appreciate you. So
likewise, I have to say I was so excited when I saw that you did stand up, because that is one of the things that my algorithm sends me is tons of stand up, and I'm not sad about it. I know that like these machines are getting the best of us in certain ways, but like it just keeps me laughing. And I was just I thought, oh, how exciting, because typically I'm on like more spiritual podcasts and informational stuff, and I was like, oh, fun, she's a comedian.
Well, had I had a shot of whiskey before the conversation, but I actually do. When I put on my little Traumedy hat, I try to be like more of a listener, which is hard for me, as you could tell. But thank you so much. I hope to see you again. Let me know if you come through Boulder. Come back to your Qigong community, and I may reach out to you about tips and for who knows, maybe old Nance will start some Qigong over here. I might.
Yeah. Well, Damaris Jarboe, she's at the Center Place. I mean, you're there. She's somebody who's not really accessible online. So you actually have the opportunity to check her out. And her community is wonderful. She's wonderful. Highly recommend.
Thank you. Well, thanks for the recommendation. And thank you again, Lara J. Day. Okay. Yeah. Well, peace and love.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nancy. That was fun.
That was fun. Thanks, Lara. Bye.
Bye.
I want to thank my guest, Lara J. Day. Go to her website, larajday.com. It's LARAJday.com. Get everything you need right there. Get the Oracle deck, learn about some of the classes and the offerings she has. And what a fun guest. Really, a lot of good energy. I enjoyed watching it again as I edited this episode. Also, the last 5 minutes of this video, for some reason, did not have any video of Lara J. Day. It was weird. I don't know what happened. I want to give a little message out to the Riverside platform. I don't know why, but you just had to look at old Nance for the last 5 minutes. Anyway, thank you for listening, and if you're watching on video, for watching and being on this co-creative, co-healing journey that is Traumedy. I want to thank my son for creating this music loop for Traumedy. I want to thank my little dog Mushu, the little dragon of the house guardian, and always bringing the good vibes. He's been such a sweet addition to our family. And what else? I don't know. Independence Day, 4th of July is coming, so may you be free. May you be free of false beliefs. May you know your authentic self and be a free spirit. I hope you're enjoying the summer, and I'll probably take a few breaks here and there this summer, but we'll be here. We'll be around. So let me know if you have any questions, if you want to be a guest on Traumedy, or you know somebody, or you have a topic you'd like me to cover. We're here for you. And thanks again. Check out my website if you want to find a show, nancynorton.tv. I am here and there, hither and yon. And again, thank you for being a listener. And remember, no matter what are we going to do? Keep laughing.